Good afternoon, Mikkeli. Really good to see you all here today. I'm heading the border surveillance technology sector, and drones are a very important part of that border surveillance technology today. In my presentation, I'm going to start with explaining why we are using drones in border surveillance, and then we have a quick look at our fleet, what kind of drones we are using, and then, of course, we discuss a bit about the challenges when using drones in the border surveillance, and finally, we will look at some future development in this field. To start with, what kind of organization we are relatively small organization compared, for example, to the Finnish Defense Forces. However, we do these tasks like border management. Their border surveillance is one big thing today. We closed the eastern border, so border checks are not that big anymore. However, we do that also still in the airports and harbors, etc. And that's part of our business as well. And then we have this maritime search and rescue, and our part is also in the military defense. And let's have a quick look our sort of share in the unmanned aerial operating in the state aviation. And there is a difference between military flying and also the state authority flying. We basically use the same rules with police in border guard and go under state authority aviation rules. However, the military goes with the military aviation rules. And there you can see also what kind of task we have there, what we are using for these systems for. We have quite long background in using drones within the border guard. Myself, I've been flying drones more than 10 years and also being a drone trainer as well. Currently, we have around about 600 active drone operators. When we started this business, we tried to train as many border guards to be able to be drone operators as possible. But today we try to concentrate on more to the quality. So we do have quite expensive equipment, and also we have noticed that it is something that not everybody can learn to do naturally. So we want to make sure that those guys who fly drones, they are capable of doing that and doing that safely as well. And why we are using drones, this is a new layer in border surveillance. We have all kinds of things from the docks to satellites, so everything in between, and drones have become one layer of this surveillance capabilities. And one of the challenges in our border surveillance is, of course, that we have the longest NATO border. It is quite long, and then we have also this maritime environment to look after. And let's have a quick look at why we are using drones. It is something, as in the previous presentation was mentioned, keyword agile. It is really agile. It's something you can get up in the air quite fast and do the surveillance quite fast, because these drones are quite fast as well. It is usually also cheaper because, for example, compared to manned aviation, you are only using just very tiny bit of resources or money for that operation. And also from the environmental point of view, it might be a good option that you that do that in these small drones as well. We think about these drones also, at least if we are looking at the heavier segment, they are sensor platforms. So there's this unmanned aerial vehicle, and then we put some sensors to that. And that is something we do also in many other areas, like this eastern border fence. It is also one kind of sensor platform. So it's there, and we can add some sensors to that. Of course, that's not the case with the smaller ones, but the heavier ones, yes. And ultimately, what we are aiming here is that we could do border surveillance more efficiently, and then some of the hype keywords like have it done autonomously, and we utilized artificial intelligence for that. We have all kinds of video streams today really heavily coming to our control centers, and it's not anymore today that you are looking at the picture. The machine does that more efficiently, and that is one big reason for using artificial intelligence. And let's now have a quick look at the fleet we are using. The tiniest ones we are using are under 2 kilograms. That's the takeoff weight, and these are the most used units what we are having in the border patrols. We do have several suppliers for these, of course, and typically sensors are integrated in these units. And we have own training system where you have to have a license before you can fly these drones. Nowadays, we also use some simulator training for getting some experience how these drones behave in practice before going to the real drone flying. Then a bit bigger ones, where the takeoff weight is between 2 kilograms to 10 kilograms. This is used in the land borders, but also quite a lot also in the maritime environments. And one reason for that is that they are able to fly in the heavier winds as well, because that is happening in the sea quite often, that there are heavy gusts. We also have several suppliers for these systems as well. And typically, these are really the sensor platforms. So you can change the sensors whatever you like. But also, as we saw in that exhibition today, there are also tether units, what we are using. And for example, in the situation what we had in the eastern border a couple of years ago, where we had to quite rapidly get lots of surveillance capability because of the situation there, then we use tether units to have these units up and running 24/7, basically there, to see what is coming really from the other side. Some of the facts or about the performance of these drones: typically the range is I would say from 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers, and operating time around about almost an hour with one battery. And also one thing which is interesting here is that there is a capability to drop loads, and you can drop all kinds of payloads or loads, but this case, for example, in Parikkala some days ago, where we used this dropping mechanism to make sure that it would be safe to get rid of this drone, which was on the very thin ice, and you can't approach that. So one way what we did is this: we had this explosive connected to the wire, and then we dropped that and get rid of that drone in the thin ice. And also, this one requires operator license, but then it requires more flying hours and more experience to get this I2 operator license. One thing which is coming quite soon actually is that we are going even heavier fleet as well, and there we are looking at something which is flying more than 5 hours, and the range would be more than 100 kilometers. This must be a vertical takeoff and landing type of system, and I would say that now what we are expecting that it's something we will start purchasing next year. We have been quite lucky to get also financing from the European Union, and this is one good example for that. And then it's not always the easy, or there are of course some challenges as well. When you take some new, this is not only for the drones, but typically for other new technology as well. When you take lots of new technology, not only the drones, for the border patrols, they got this techno bloat. There are so many things they have to learn, and so many things they have to maintain, and they might, even though that they say that they need that, they then would be maybe having a problem to deal with it if there is too much in one time. And then there's this artificial intelligence hype. People are looking at the documents from the TV or all sorts of presentations that you can do everything with artificial intelligence. So far so good, maybe, yes, but then sometimes there is misconceptions about what you can actually do. In this field, legislation comes typically a bit late. However, it's now quite okay when it comes to drone flying. However, counter-drone activities, it came late too. And in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about counter-drone activities, even though that would be interesting and hot topic, but we don't have enough time for that. Then, which is also might be a problem, that we have older generation who was born before internet was there, and it's very difficult to train these guys to fly FPV drones, even though Jaakko said it's possible. It might be, yes, but there is a challenge there. And also in the command, if people don't understand how you can actually utilize this new technology, then it might be a bit challenging. And then when it comes to counter-drone, thing is that it's very cheap to cause the threat, but countermeasures can be really, really expensive. At least some countermeasures which are covering well the area. And then today we also discussed in the exhibition about the autonomy, which is basically salesmen are selling easily for us that you have this autonomous system. Typically it's just automated system. If you do the flight plan and the drone comes from the point 1 to 2 and 3, etc., it's just automation. It's not autonomy. Autonomy would be that you will tell the drones that you will search a person from this lake and come back with the results. That would be the autonomy in real life, and someday it will be there. I believe you. And there's an example what artificial intelligence can do in the pictures. Like I gave some keywords like border surveillance, sensors, and dogs, and you can see what comes out from the artificial intelligence. But then some potentially raising trends in this field, which was mentioned earlier, is first-person view flying, definitely growing heavily at the moment. Also, ability to operate in the GPS-denied environment. And now when we have different layers in our system and lots of different kinds of user interfaces, it would be very important for us that this situational picture would be fused so that the person who will get the alarms don't have multiple systems there. It would be good to have just one. One thing which might be coming is the multispectral sensors, not only EO or IR sensors. And then when there's a lots of data feed or video feed coming in, then for the further examinations for crime scene investigation, whatever we have, then it would be good if we have data pools and use there some kind of data crunching as well. Augmented reality and simulators have been there for training for a very long time already, but in our business is coming even more important. And then when it comes to commercial flying, digital twins and use base is there someday as well. And as mentioned earlier, the real autonomy. That's all, folks. Thank you for your attention.